All right, now let's go to work, pack a lunch. Come on. That, do that dance. Ooh, goddamn, who that man? I'm feeling brand new. That, do that dance. Ooh, goddamn, who that man? I'm feeling brand new. And break it down low. Wanna act up and kick it with a pro. I'm sick of being cautious, got me nauseous. I need a safe space for me to get toxic. Go crazy, I'm feeling sexy right now, oh baby. Party with a Betty, old lady. I'm just feeling good, buddy, don't hate me. Oh no, assemble the ratchets, let's go hit the road. Pockets new money, they about to explode. I'm banning Karens, only barbarians, smoking and staring at my funeral. With optional clothes, shut the fuck up, bro, they not gonna know. Hakuna Matata, bro, stop being so scared. You know I got bail money. That, do that dance. Ooh, goddamn, who that man? I'm feeling brand new. That, do that dance. Ooh, goddamn, who that man? I'm feeling brand new. Cash money, cash money. I'm talking real cash money. What up though? What up though? What up though? When I slide through, can I get loose? Then I go boom. I like them shoes. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that. Fuck a strip club. I'm on the balcony of the hotel in a fucking robe throwing tips up. Cheeks all kissed up. Lipstick from a misfit in a hot tub. Spicy with the drip, got the hot sauce. I'ma show off, I'm a hot dog. Got a heat check when the shot's hot. Put the music on the street, make the block hot. Karate in the garage, and probably with all the dogs. I'm partying like a boss, I'm starting a renaissance. I'm naked woman in socks, she begging for a menage. I'm partying like a boss, so partying like a... It's impossible these days to ever know the truth. So $100 is some fucking catch and hold a goose. All I'm saying is I need a place where I can get loose, bitch, loose! That, do that dance. Ooh, goddamn, who that man? I'm feeling brand new. Cash money, cash money. I'm talking real cash money. That, do that dance. Ooh, goddamn, who that man? I'm feeling brand new. Cash money, cash money. I'm talking real cash money. What up though? What up though? What up though? When I slide through, can I get loose? Then I go boom. I like them shoes. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yay. If you into kidnapping, then just take me away. I'm feeling brand new. New shoes. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yay. If you ain't about the money, then there's nothing to say. I'm feeling brand new. Oh, I'm feeling brand new. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. And we all going together.
My day is just it was the light. My day I think I was the light. But I'm keep coming. I come with I made it up. Now I'm laid up when it's at that's all it was, so I picked it up. My day is just it was the light. My day I think I was the light. Oh no,
Good morning. Hello. I missed you all. Amatau. Oh, I gotta fix this one. Hold on. Everything was pretty much perfectly set up except for that. Hello. So good to see you. Have you been enjoying your mental decompression and relaxation? I certainly have. I've been being a towel. I've been getting things done. I got a passport. Hashtag towel with a passport. Good to see you all. It's 10 a.m. on this Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. It is 10 a.m. here in Boston, I should say, at the ominous war desk. It is, let's see, 4 p.m. in South Africa. It is 5 p.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 5:30 p.m. in Tehran, Iran. The drums of war, they beat large, they beat loudly. I guess you can beat large, I'm not really sure. In any event, hello, good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Tal. Very short breakfast stream today. I'm going to get you caught up. Why? Well, you may remember it was just 2 months ago. Yes, maybe 3 months. I don't really remember. It's all a blur at this point. Where we were sitting together on the fateful day that was February 26, 2026. And we were watching Mr. President's State of the Union. And I said, you have 48 hours. Now, it turns out most people didn't get this prediction right. Well, I'm telling you right now, again, my prediction, could be right, could be wrong. You have 48 more hours of whatever the hell this ceasefire lull has been, which frankly has been more stressful and ominous than just an active conflict, in my opinion, because you never know what the hell is going to happen at any moment during the day. In any event, you have 48 hours. Why? Well, the bellicose rhetoric is really the big tip-off. Hello, Sarah B. Creative. It's so good to see you. Hello, Superstition Man, and all of our friends out on the West Coast. Good to see you all. Here's why I think you have 48 hours. Before we dive into the recap and why I think we're at such a precipice and why I'm so concerned. Friday into Monday is an American holiday. So there's no stock market next Monday. It's Memorial Day. Furthermore, it is a Persian holiday. It's an Islamic holiday on the 24th, the 25th, the 26th. It might even be the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, the 26th. It's a 3 or 4 day holiday. There's something odd about all of this timing. There's something odd. The Gulf countries did not. Mr. President Trump said he was going to strike Iran on Monday night and called it off with about an hour before the strike package went live. There's a few things I don't believe about that. One, it takes 6 hours to get a bomber from Tel Aviv to Iran, basically, using the strike corridor that the U.S. and Israel used during the war, which is basically Tel Aviv, Ben Gurion Airport, over Jordan, over the center of Iraq, Baghdad, and then into Iran through a west-east corridor all the way to Tehran. Those are for the strikes up north. I don't exactly know how they get down south. I think it's probably from the UAE and Qatar and Bahrain, but I can't confirm that. Anyway, it takes 6 hours to get a bomber from Ben Gurion Airport to Iran. So I don't believe for a second that he called that strike package off with an hour to go. You'd literally be calling them off while they were over Iraq, like the most eastern part of Iraq, basically on the border with Iran. In fact, calling them off with an hour to go would basically be like calling them off in Iran. Now, Mr. President doesn't always speak cogently about military terminology, so he might have meant he called it off an hour before he launched the strike package, which itself takes 6 hours. But the point remains the same. Mr. President, just 2 days ago on Monday of this week, Tuesday, it was actually yesterday, while standing outside a ballroom. He said some odd things yesterday. I'll show you the clip. Mr. President said that he was going to launch the attack Monday night, but due to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Kuwait, he decided not to. Yes, Mohammed, I agree with you. And the tension of the constant monitoring in this faux ceasefire is almost worse than if the bombs were dropping. I will tell you, it is exceptionally frustrating. This is not a ceasefire. I think what happened was both sides just got very exhausted from the war. And there was never a negotiation. Neither side of this conflict was ever close to reaching a negotiated settlement. Both of them are intransient on the 3 to 5 biggest principles of a potential agreement. Neither of them are ever going to back down. This was at best a rest period. That's why I called the first part of this war a phony war. A phony war does not mean it's a fake war. By the way, it's a reference to World War II, where there's a period of fighting before the real fighting. Barney Frank has died, ladies and gentlemen. The U.S. representative from Massachusetts, Barney Frank, has died. May God rest his soul. This per the New York Times Wire just now. Good morning, Lavender and Rose. I'm not. Aliens probably are in the ocean. Maybe they're Nordic. Maybe aliens were the Vikings. Hashtag the aliens were Vikings. So in any event, Mr. President, I don't know what happened Monday. I don't know. There's rumors. The Iranian press, which take it for what it will, take that for what you will. The Iranian press reported that Mr. President abandoned the strike package because Iran's air defenses, which might actually be reasonable, are so good right now. And but what I mean by that is they have these things called man pads. We, I think, initially gave them to the Taliban in the 80s to fight the Soviets. They're kind of like shoulder-mounted anti-aircraft missiles. Now, you might be saying, there's no way a dude with a shoulder-mounted like anti-aircraft missile can shoot down an F-15 or whatever. Yes, they can. It's this very effective form of like tracking. I don't really know that much about it. It has to do with the way that it picks up on the jet engine. Like the jet engine from the fighter plane leaves a very specific heat signature. And so these things, you like fire them from one dude holding it on his shoulder, and it goes up and it gets the plane. That's what the Iranian media is reporting caused Mr. President to taco. Now, as you all know, Mr. President tacoing is a very famous meme, okay? It's a very famous meme in the Middle East. Mr. President is asserted by the various sort of entities that like to meme in the Middle East to be tacoing. He always tacos. Trump always chickens out, okay? So, yet again, there was a taco. Now, here's a few things. One, I don't think it was a taco. I think it was a tactical misdirection. Trump always tactically misdirects. I don't think that's a very good acronym. The point is, nobody launches an attack while the stock market is open. Nobody launches an attack during the middle of the week. I mean, you could if you really wanted the element of surprise, but you'd be working yourself into a shoot because, in essence, you'd crash the stock market. So, Friday looks like the day. There's a 3-day period for the U.S. stock market to adjust because of the holiday on Monday. There's an Iranian holiday and an Islamic holiday over the weekend. It looks like they're going to strike. But the problem is, if everybody knows you're going to strike, you can't really be that effective in your strike. So I don't really know. There's no tactical sort of rationality to anything that the belligerents in this conflict do, except for Iran. Iran is the only rational state actor in this conflict. Now, compounding all of this, the Israeli Knesset voted to dissolve itself today, therein opening the path within the next 90 days for new elections to be called, which probably will take place after some campaigning. I'd say a month or two ahead of schedule. They were originally going to take place in the fall. They'll probably take place at the end of summer now. There is no doubt that Netanyahu's government is about to fall. So if he wants to make his last stand, this is it. Now, you may be saying to yourself, no, there's no way that that the Israeli government is going to fall. Oh yeah, it's going to fall. You want to see how bad things got? Well, first of all, let me actually get you caught up on the news. So, since we last spoke to each other, which was probably sometime after I graduated last week, so probably Sunday. Since we last spoke, there has been a very consistent pattern of developments. Shelling by Israel, mass shelling throughout southern Lebanon, shelling by Hezbollah of Israeli military positions, and then shelling by Hezbollah slightly into Israeli settlements in the north near Kiryat Shimona and near Netanya. And I have new internet. It's still getting adjusted. Hello, I have this new internet service. You might lose me for a few seconds every couple hours. It's really good, but it's getting adjusted. I'm back. If you ever get a buffer, that's just the dropped frames from my internet kind of getting used to it. It's a cool form of internet. In any event, I'm back. Let me just do a test. Hello. Alright, I'm back. Good to see you all. Alright, so let me get back to where we were going here. So it does not make sense to attack in the middle of the week. It simply does not. It makes no sense. It does not benefit or behoove the United States. It does not benefit or behoove the Israelis. However, neither the Israelis nor the Americans at this point in time, hello Kimberly, good to see you, at this point in time, are really politically accountable to anyone. Benjamin Netanyahu, as I mentioned, is on his way out of office, and President Trump, as indicated by the Massey election last night, still has enough pull to sway races. Massey was the guy who released the Epstein files, Rep. Massey. He lost by like 10,000 votes, which was strangely the exact number of votes that were sent in by mail-in ballot, literally within like 200. It was a little odd. Anyway, there's no political accountability regarding Israeli or American decisions. The Senate voted last night by a very slim 50 to 47 margin to invoke the War Powers Act. It won't matter for a number of reasons. Procedurally, well, one, it's questionable whether the War Powers Act is even constitutional. It was passed in 73. It's never been challenged. Presidents just don't really acknowledge it. Number two, even if this gets past the House, which it won't, the only way it can pass is if Mr. President Trump, if it survives a veto. If Mr. President Trump vetoes it, it's got to go back to the Congress, where it's got to pass 2/3 of the Senate, 67 people, and 2/3 of the House. Never going to happen. So that would be the only political check domestically on Mr. President. In Israel, the only political check really is the parliamentary coalition that Netanyahu had with Ben Gvir, the extremist. By the way, Ben Gvir got himself in a lot of trouble today. Ben Gvir is this extremist. He was the guy who popped the champagne during the war when Israel passed a law that permitted the execution of Palestinian prisoners. So Ben Gvir is already in hot water internationally. He's like a minister in Netanyahu's cabinet. In a parliamentary democracy, you have to have a majority of the seats to have a prime minister. And if your party doesn't win a straight majority in the elections, you can go find another smaller party and make what's called a coalition. Then you can be the prime minister without a straight majority vote. It's very complicated because you have to be able to survive a no confidence vote, which means you need the support of your smaller coalition partner on everything. Netanyahu's smaller coalition partner is somehow even more radical than Netanyahu. And this morning, he decided there was a flotilla of international aid groups that went in and tried to break the Israeli blockade of Gaza over the past 2 days. It was the second such flotilla in the past month. Israel arrested all the people on the boats. They boarded the boats. They arrested all the people. They brought them to like some kind of camp, some kind of like outdoor like camp, an indoor detention facility with an outdoor camp. This was very bad. It was a very bad idea. Ben Gvir goes in there with a cell phone, mocking all the prisoners who are like yelling "Free Palestine" at him, and then the Israeli prison guards push the flotilla prisoners down on the ground and make them like bow to Gvir. First of all, the Turkish ambassador immediately summoned the Israeli foreign minister to Ankara, or the ambassador, to scream at him. I assure you it will be a very tense diplomatic conversation in Ankara today between Turkey and the Israelis, because there's Turkish citizens in that prison in Israel waiting to be repatriated. Second of all, the Israeli opposition, who's going to win the prime minister, control of the Israeli Knesset and the prime ministership, they put out a statement condemning what Ben Gvir did. He's literally out of his mind for doing this. But there has been an ebb and flow over the past few days, as I mentioned. Continued Israeli strikes in the south of Lebanon, continued Hezbollah strikes. Israel's tanks can't get beyond Beit Jabal, basically. They get up past Beit Jabal a little bit, but every time they try to move anywhere north of Nakura or Beit Jabal, basically anywhere into Lebanese territory, Hezbollah hits them immediately. And there's nothing Israel can do. Nothing at all. They can't defend against the drones that Hezbollah has, the fiber optic drones. They can't defend against Hezbollah's anti-tank missiles, and they certainly can't defend against Hezbollah's more serious arsenal, which isn't even being used right now because there's this weird rules of engagement where Israel doesn't bomb Beirut, so Hezbollah doesn't use their serious missiles, their angry missiles. Hello, Kim. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for your kind words about Tao graduation. God bless you. Yes, Iran has FPV drones supplied, we believe, by Russia. That's what the general analyst consensus is. But Iran also makes their own drones. And then Iran's missiles are more dangerous than their drones. I keep seeing people talk about Iran's... I was reading a New York Times article this morning that talked about Iran's capabilities to hit, like, the Gulf states, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Iraq, etc. No. If you watch coverage of this war on this channel, you will know full well that Iran has the capacity to hit Israel on the regular constantly, and the Iron Dome and Arrow and David Sling can't stop those Khorram Shahars. Even the New York Times completely blew that analysis. I was reading them this morning. They didn't get it at all. Either they didn't watch, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're intentionally suppressing it. But the real risk of going back to war is not just the energy infrastructure in the Gulf, the desalination plants, the oil output. It's that the civilians of Israel, if Iran gives the okay, they are the only ones who decide whether this happens, will be under alert constantly. They can't sleep. I saw people, I want to give you a content warning here, I saw people by the end of that 40-day war that between Iran and the U.S., I saw people in Israel pulling out knives, old women, because their sons were killed, and like just threatening to attack people on the buses up in the north. I saw another dude, after Hezbollah hit his building with a cruise missile, content warning, jump out of the building. I don't know if he lived or not. It was absolutely psychological warfare by the end, and Iran has the capacity to unleash that on the civilians in Israel at any moment with nothing that will stop them. No amount of bombing will stop their missiles. No amount of ground troops will stop their missiles. Iran is 1.6 million square kilometers. It's more land than you could fill with troops if you wanted to. And they used what's called total war structure. I don't think people actually understand what total war is. Total war is not, it's not just the whole country being at war, or all of the armament production, all of domestic industrial production being focused on armaments. It's not really that. Total war is when you put command and control in the field, where you tell the individual units, fire at will. You don't need permission. There's just one permission that goes out, and then you're in total war until you hear otherwise. And that's where we're heading. And that's what people are not taking into account here. 3 drones hit the UAE nuclear power plant. Yes, they did, just yesterday. There have been these weird... I tend to think they're false flags, because the Iraqi resistance and the Iraqi government are denying that they sent these drones. These drones came from somewhere to the west of the UAE. No one really knows where they came from. I tend to think they're false flags. I don't know exactly why they're happening. I kind of do. I think it has to do with Israel putting a lot of pressure on the UAE to give President Trump a reason to restart the war. Hello, Tiffany Bob. It's so good to see you. How are you? Hello, Razor On. I'm so glad that we've been able to see each other, Razor On. I will say I was gathering my strength. I sense that something is coming. I can't pin it. If I could pin it down to the day, that would be bad. I just have this, towel intuition. So let's take a look at speaking of my towel intuition, let's take a look at the latest statement from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard that was released earlier today, just 6 hours ago.
Conversation. Urgent. Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Let the American Zionist enemy know, if aggression against Iran is repeated, the regional war that was promised will, this time, exceed the boundaries of the region, and we will deliver devastating strikes against you in places you do not expect. And you will fall into the abyss of defeat and destruction. We are a people of war, and you will witness our strength on the battlefield, not in hollow statements and virtual internet pages.
So that's the first statement they've put out in a while. Okay? A while. And I track all this stuff. How do you cancel the Constitution? Tiffany Bob, there's something called suspending habeas corpus, where you suspend. Habeas corpus is called a writ of the body, and it's what you use to challenge detention. You can, during times of war, as the president, famously Lincoln did this, you can suspend the writ of habeas corpus. In essence, you can declare martial law and arrest people, and they can't go to court to get out. That's colloquially what suspending the Constitution means. But the way that the emergency powers work in the U.S. it's not really that way. Not the post 9/11 emergency powers. It's not the same as suspending the writ of habeas corpus. You can't unilaterally declare the Constitution doesn't apply. How do I know? I went to law school. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. But even the Guantanamo defendants have like a scintilla, I don't know how to say it, a small amount of constitutional rights. Even people who aren't citizens have a small amount of constitutional rights. Yes, I checked. It really does apply. But yes, there's no such thing as suspending the Constitution, but you can absolutely, during a time of war, suspend certain rights under the Constitution. Thank you, Mercury Star. Scintilla, that sounds right. Let me get you some more updates. Oh, yes. So just to show you what I mean by these fiber optic drones from Iran and Hezbollah, look at this drone cable. You're going to actually see the drone cable here. 1 second. You'll see it clear. Oh, there it is. See that thing over the power lines? That's a drone. That's a fiber optic drone cable. And then I could show you another example of it where it's actually over the car. Now, a lot of weird things happened this morning. One of the reasons I went live today, I'm curious what rights those in Guantanamo have. Tiffany Bob, that's a great question. So they have the right to a lawyer. They have a right. It's a military tribunal, but they have the Supreme Court has given them certain procedural due process rights. So under the 14th Amendment, even as a prisoner of war, you have certain rights under the Constitution. DD Teams, it's only like one or two, but it's gone to the Supreme Court. The first question is, did they even have the right to petition the Supreme Court for review? And the answer is yes. And then the second question was, like, what, like, challenges, evidentiary challenges, and, like, what rights do they have to a lawyer in the context of a UMCJ proceeding? It's in essence like a parallel proceeding to a court martial. It's a military tribunal, but you have constitutional rights. And the question was, to what extent can a U.S. domestic court compel the military to uphold the Constitution for prisoners of war? In essence, that's what they are. They're hostile combatants. And the answer is they have some rights. Very small, but some. Oh, hold on 1 second. Hello, beautiful. I'm actually live right now. I'm sending you this message as I'm live. I'm doing a breakfast update. It's only going to go for about an hour or so. I hope you had a wonderful day. You're wonderful. How are you? That was a message I had to send to Towel Girlfriend. She's wonderful. I just wanted to let her know. And now you all got to listen. So as I mentioned, someone asked earlier about the FPV drones being used by Hezbollah. That is absolutely an indicia. The fact that we're seeing the fiber optic wires, and Iran is facilitating Hezbollah's access to these drones, but it is in effect coming from Russia, the tech, I believe. Hello, 3 Clerk Monty. Hello, John Q. Public. It's so good to see you. Oh, thank you, Kim. You're wonderful. Maybe Towel Girlfriend will come in the chat. We'll see. Oh, this is censored, so I can show you this. This comes from Khan News in Israel. I was a little bit perturbed by this. Hello, Towel Girlfriend, if you're listening. You're wonderful. I was a little perturbed by this. This is censored by, and this was published on Khan News, Kann, in Israel. It's actually in Hebrew, the original publication. But I have the censored video. Hezbollah attacked, they didn't hit the school, but they attacked, it was a very rare, I saw the alert go up. I can give you the exact time of this alert. I thought it was very odd. It was at 1:51 local time, so it was 9 hours ago. So 1:51 where I am, like 7, 8 in the morning in the north of Israel. It was in Kiryat Shimona and Marjaliat. There were drones and rockets that just came flying in. Listen to what happened in school. Now, this is censored, and it was aired on the Israeli news and cleared for publication, so I will broadcast this because it's censored. The faces are all censored. But take a look. The school children were terrified, and this was just one attack. If Hezbollah gets the okay from Iran, this will be all day. They can't even go to school. And frankly, I'm concerned that the Israeli authorities in the north are even having these children go to school, because this is clearly, it's not a lull in the fighting, it's a very active conflict zone. That is what happens. Just so folks understand, these alerts are not ethereal sort of beeping. When an alert goes off in the day and there are activities going on, children, they don't have anywhere to go. They just sit there and scream. It's like an air raid drill. They try to get under their desks and they hope that whatever is up there doesn't hit them. It's very terrifying, and folks should understand the human toll. I don't understand why there is education going on. They can be using distance learning. This is clearly a very active time in this conflict that could at any moment bubble over, and Iran could, with 6 minutes notice, decide that they don't want to wait. They don't want to let President Trump set the tone with the stock market closing and then Iran getting bombed. They could just do it right away. So, I don't understand. Maybe it's from a place of wanting to establish normalcy and try to return to normal life, but this is not a normal time. The war is not over. It never ended. We didn't get a peace treaty. We just got this odd kind of like rebuild and rest time. Frankly, we probably all needed it, but it's not making me feel like sending the children in North Israel to school is a good idea for exactly this reason. And obviously, this is probably the last lull that we will have. You call it a lull if you want. I don't think the people of southern Lebanon would call it a lull. But it's probably the last down time in this conflict because President Trump and Israel may envision a short-term, intense bombing raid. Iran has enough missiles to go as long as they want. I think the only reason they're holding back is they took a lot of hits. It severely damaged their domestic infrastructure and command and control. They don't need it, but they took the time to rebuild it. Probably dig out some tunnels. Remember, Iran's missiles are under granite. A lot of granite. Granite is the hardest rock to penetrate with what are called bunker buster ordnances, like a Moab, the U.S. Moab, which is like 30,000 tons or whatever it is of bomb in one bomb. That can go 90 meters through soft rock, 30 meters through harder rock, and 10 meters through granite. Iran has granite mountains. All of their missile cities, as they call them, are under granite mountains. So you're talking like 90 meters of granite, which we cannot penetrate, and then further. Some of these missile cities are 300 to 500 meters deep. There is no ordnance, not a nuclear bomb, not a bunker busting bomb. There is no ordnance on the earth that can penetrate deeper than 10 meters, maybe 15, into granite. Nowhere, no one on earth has a bomb that can do that. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Granite is basically impenetrable. It's granite. You have to have a mountain made of granite to effectuate this plan, which Iran happens to have. They're a very mineral resource area. So let me explain the practical implications of this. Actually, you know what? Let's just watch a clip from Israel channel, 24, that literally resulted in the Israeli military censor threatening channel 14 or whatever it was. Let me bring this up for you now. All right, so this guy, I think it was channel 14, It was Channel 14. He goes on Channel 14. I have the English captions for you here. Look what he says about the actual state. This was 3 days ago. It led to him getting screamed at by the military censor. Look what this man has to say about the state of Iran's missile capabilities.
תראה, פתאום פלישה רגלית למקומות מסוים. אני למשל, אני לא יודע כלום, אני אומר את זה, מה אני הייתי עושה? אני הייתי נוחת באספן. עשו כבר תרגול לזה לקראת הטייס, והייתי מנסה להוציא את החומר המואש.
זה לא סוד.
שברור שאיראן לא תסכים למסור אותו.
תוצאה של חודשים. מאוד לא פשוט.
חודשים?
חודשים, שבועות, אני לא... צריך לחפור חומר שנמצא עמוק, להנחית ציוד הנדסי, לבנות...
מה שאני שומע שהחומר לא קבור, רק הדלתות לתוך המתקן קבורות. את החומר עצמו, אם נכנסת למתקן, לא משנה מי רמז לי את זה, נכנסת למתקן, אתה מרים את המכלים ויוצא החוצה.
אין לי דרך לדעת אם זה נכון, אבל זה לא המידע שמפורסם ברוב המקומות.
שומעים אותי, אני לא יכול לדבר.
He got in trouble for that. I saw the letter from the censor. He got in trouble. And that tells you that that's the reality. There's no nuclear dust. They didn't destroy the centrifuges. This is what I've always suspected. And it's really Occam's razor here because it's how granite works. What Iran most likely did, or what we most likely did in Isfahan and in Fador and at any other place where Iran has missile cities or underground nuclear facilities. All we did was bomb the tunnels. That's it. All we did was bomb the tunnels. The tunnels do three different things. They are, if you have a missile facility, the tunnels are what bring the missile at their final stage to the launch pad. If you have either facility, some of the tunnels are also, and they're very long, air ventilation shafts and like roads so you can bring in food for all the people that work there and supplies. Most of what we did was bomb the exit tunnels and entry tunnels to these facilities. That does no damage to the missiles. It does no damage to the nuclear material stored in centrifuges. In fact, the only way, which is why I knew that we didn't blow up their nuclear material, not that it would have even mattered, the only way you can blow up, quote unquote, and destroy nuclear material is when it's spinning in a centrifuge. The centrifuge doesn't always spin. It's kind of like, think of it like a lotus petal. Okay, it like opens up when it spins. It spins really fast. It opens up these arms. This is the general explanation. Okay, you don't need to learn nuclear physics for this. Just think about a centrifuge. You have like uranium. You want to take the uranium and you want to make it more enriched. Okay, what does that mean? Well, think about what CERN is. Okay, the thing under Europe where they move the particles really fast and crash them into each other. Well, what do you think a centrifuge is? It's just moving the nuclear particles around really fast. And that's what allows you to enrich the uranium. Now, if you think about this in concept, the arms of the centrifuge open when it is spinning really fast. I'm talking faster than you can process. That's why these centrifuges have to be custom cast. They take like 12 months to build. They have to be made out of a very specific form of metal. Yes, they separate the uranium for enrichment. I'm not a nuclear physicist. I don't know the actual molecular process. All I know is, for our purposes, they spin really fast. When the uranium is in the centrifuge, if you hit that centrifuge, I don't know how you would do it. Maybe with like a virus, like Stuxnet, if you remember that virus. If you compromised, or like, I guess you could take like a shoulder-mounted rocket and just go inside the facility and shoot at the damn thing. If you do that, it will destroy the nuclear material. That is the only way it will destroy it. I'm telling you, that's the only way. And even then, it's not destroyed. What happens is it gets ejected out into the bedrock. It's going to cause a massive explosion. And it's going to push all the uranium into the bedrock. Now, what is uranium? Uranium is a naturally occurring like material, mineral, or whatever the hell it is, in the earth, uranium ore. Okay, what do you think Iran is doing in its country? It's identifying existing and ones they don't know about, uranium ore deposits. And they're just going to mine more uranium. There is no point in us, even the U.S., this whole concept of us taking their uranium or burning it, blowing it into dust or whatever the hell, makes no damn sense. It's either the stupidest approach to a war anyone's ever heard of, or it's disinformation and it's fake. Because practically, I just want to give it to you straight, you don't destroy nuclear material, you can just mine more. And even if you blew it up while it was spinning in a centrifuge, it's just going to go in the damn dirt and then go get it. Even if you took it out of the country, they would just go mine more. It's not that hard to find. They have like giant uranium mines south of Fedor on Old Combs Road. I've looked at them on the satellites. Anyway, so the point is, that's a fake issue. This is ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. You know, it will take them a few years to mine it and refine it and all that if they don't just buy it from Pakistan or North Korea or God knows who. You're not stopping them. We need nuclear detente here. Hello? Hello? Who do you think's more of a risk with a nuclear weapon? Oh, God bless you, Mike Johnson. 5 star. Is that what it says? Hold on, what's it say? Flow state. Oh, even better. Flow state, I love it. Who do you think is more of a threat to the Middle East? Israel with its nuclear weapons under the Negev, or Iran? Only one of those two countries has belligerently attacked civilians and other countries around it in the past 15 years. We can't go too far back because then we'll get to the Cole bombing. But my point is, only one of those two countries is a threat to civilians and other countries in the region, and it's not Iran. So what are we doing? They're going to get the nuclear bomb. Frankly, I think they already have it. I think that's the big open secret that nobody wants to talk about. They have that bomb. They've tested that bomb, and Russia knows and Pakistan knows. You realize Pakistan's a nuclear-armed state, right? And they're an Islamic republic who is very closely allied with Iran. There's only one guy in the Pakistani hierarchy who likes President Trump. I mean, of course they all play to him, but there's only one guy that's really friendly with him. The Pakistani government is an Islamic republic, which is far closer aligned to Iran's interests than it is to the U.S.'s interests. So, with that in mind, Motorhead, I agree with you. I agree with you that there have been attacks on Israel that necessitated Israel developing a deterrent. I agree. In particular, 1967. I think we've actually talked about before how the Yom Kippur War, as much as people want to talk about various attacks occurring during religious holidays, Egypt set the tone by attacking Israel on Yom Kippur in 67. However, Motorhead, where I'm going to push back here is, you know why that nuclear facility under the Negev exists? Because a spy came into my country, the U.S., and stole that technology from my country. So I'm mad. You want it? Get it. The Israeli people deserve to have a nuclear deterrent. They deserve Trident and Polaris, which are dual key technologies just like the British. They do not deserve to steal the United States' military nuclear technology, then build a facility under the Negev while trying to tell the world that we have to go to war with Iran so Iran can't have a nuclear facility. It's absurd. It's the epitome of hypocrisy, and it really undermines the moral cause because the IAEA can't even go into Dianoa and look at the damn thing. So instead, you get a bunch of intelligence operatives that are really into bird watching that just go hang out around the Negev looking for rare species of birds that coincidentally can only be found there. No. Well, Motorhead, you might be right that Israel expanded that technology, but I can get you the name. It was in the 60s. The original technology, the original, methodology for achieving fusion? cold fusion, not cold fusion, hot fusion. That came directly from the United States. That came out of Los Alamos. That got taken and brought right over. And by the way, even if we set aside the spy, whose name I will get you, who took that technology originally in the 60s, we still have the issue here with completely disparate treatment by the IAEA of Iran and Israel. They just have to. It's an untenable position to demand that Iran be subject to inspections that Israel's not subject to. That's absurd. Well, first 48, you can't possibly be right about that because we got the nukes first. So whatever we did to get that by like using Operation Paperclip, whatever, I don't love that, but we still got the tech first. Fission. I remember Klaus Fuchs, but there was another guy. Let me get you his name. Hold on, I'll Google this. Spy gave U.S. nuclear secrets to Israel. It wasn't Richard Philbin. It was a different guy. Jonathan Pollard. Was this the guy? Yep, Jonathan Pollard. His name, just to repeat that for you, it's Jonathan, Jonathan, Pollard. Pollard. Jonathan Pollard. Now, it still goes back to this fundamental issue here of Iran's going to get the nuke. Frankly, the safest option, I know this sounds terrifying, but frankly, Israel could nuke Tehran, so it goes both ways. The safest option for stability in the Middle East is a nuclear deterrent for Iran. Pakistan's an Islamic Republic. They have the nuke. The reality is this war ends when Iran gets the nuke. And if they don't develop it themselves, someone's going to give it to them. They're either going to buy it on the black market from North Korea, which, frankly, do you know North Korea got the nuke? They just bought it from a disaffected Pakistani scientist in 1986. So if the Hermit Kingdom can buy the nuke from a disaffected Pakistani scientist, why do we think for 1 second that Iran doesn't already have the nuke? Motorhead, let me correct myself. You might actually be right. I think Pollard was actually an intelligence spy, which is even worse, frankly. But there was one specific spy who actually stole nuclear secrets. Are we sure it wasn't this guy? He was, I believe, one of the first Americans to go to jail for domestic spying for an ally. You might be right, though. Wait! Yes, it was him! It was absolutely him! I don't think that was the origination of the current Israeli nuclear program, but he absolutely was handing U.S. nuclear secrets and Pakistani nuclear secrets to the Israelis. The point is, though, Israel denies to this day that it has a nuclear program, so the official position of the State of Israel in response to all of my critiques here would be, we don't have a nuclear program, a nuclear weapons program, and I'd be like, okay, sure you don't, and I'm a towel. Anyway. It's a tough situation, Motorhead. It really is. My primary concern is peace. The less missiles that fall, the better. And frankly, nuclear deterrents really do settle things down. Why? I don't know. I think it's because people get really afraid of countries with them. And if concern about nuclear weapons falling is what's going to bring peace, I mean, it's a zero-sum equation. So, but yes, I appreciate the debate, and I also think the analysis is incredibly important. You cannot go into a country and just take a certain amount of like refined or enriched uranium and then say, all right, that country's never going to get any more enriched uranium. I think everyone knows they're just going to go mine it. So we need an actual like resolution to this, and it seems to be that the only resolution is Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Now, frankly, we're kind of moving in the right direction if they're open to at least being inspected. They're still going to play tomfoolery. They're going to play games with the IAEA, but you know. Share Bear. Wait. No, Share Bear. We're not going to have any violence. I don't know who's unable to hear you. Maybe some of your comments weren't going through. But yes, I certainly can see them. Maybe the comments weren't showing up. But yes, I don't think anyone was ignoring you. Your comments just may not have been going through. At least we're doing breakfast with Towel. All right, I'm not going to continue to belabor the debate. I do think the debate is important, okay, but I don't want to belabor it. Let me give you the latest from yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz with English captions.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. همکار گرامی مردم ایران از هوای گرم بندر عباس سلام گرم من رو هم پذیرا باشید. همچنان مدیریت هوشمند ایران و نیروهای مسلح کشور در تنگه هرمز ادامه داره. بر این اساس حساب رسمی مدیریت آبراهی خلیج فارس نیز در شبکه اجتماعی ایکس برای اطلاع رسانی از فعالیت‌های این نهاد راه اندازی شده است. در پیامی که در این حساب منتشر شده آمده که نهاد مدیریت آبراهی خلیج فارس نهادی قانونی و مرجع نمایندگی جمهوری اسلامی ایران برای مدیریت عبور و مرور در تنگه هرمز است و دریانوردی در حریم معرفی شده تنگه هرمز که پیش از این حدود آن از طریق نیروهای مسلح و مقامات جمهوری اسلامی ایران تعیین شده منوط به هماهنگی با این نهاد است و عبور بدون مجوز موضوع و امری غیرقانونی تلقی خواهد شد. بنابراین قرار هست که از طریق این حساب بایدها و نبایدهای عبور از تنگه هرمز به شناورها ابلاغ بشه و مالکان شناورها زین پس خودشون رو با این بایدها و نبایدها سازگار و پس از اون مجوزهای لازم برای عبور از تنگه هرمز رو دریافت کنند. پیش از این هم نمایندگان مردم در مجلس شورای اسلامی اعلام کرده بودند که در حال بررسی و تدوین قانونی برای مدیریت تنگه هرمز هستند. موضوعاتی که نشان دهنده عزم جدی مسئولان هست در گرفتن حق قانونی مردم ایران. سپاس از اینکه با من همراه بودید. بسم الله.
Politics is a popularity contest. Hello, Tao Mom Lin. It's so good to see you. Tao Mom Lin is here. Hello, Tao Mom Lin. You are wonderful. It's so good to see you. How have you been? Hello, Rekha. Good to see you. Well, you know, Rekha, I don't have a good answer to that. I don't have politics. I think you have to read Plato to really get an appreciation for why people vote for that, like vote for people like Alcibiades. Let me show you what Mr. President Trump said yesterday, by the way, because I'm going to get you caught up through to today. Israel, by the way, has just issued another warning, a forced evacuation warning in South Lebanon. It continues every day. Let's take a listen to what Mr. President Trump had to say yesterday while he was talking about his great big ballroom. You know, he's got the biggest ballrooms, you know, the greatest ballrooms, the best ballrooms. He does, you know, he really does.
And it's only political. It's the Democrats. They're dumb. It's a new name. It's a very accurate name. So I'm in the middle of a negotiation. I'm saying you cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it comes over the wire that the Democrats want to stop Trump from further negotiations. They want to stop Trump from, if he has to, giving them another slap. They want to have a nuclear weapon to blow up the Middle East.
The steins just start falling down. I was breaking out laughing when I was recording this yesterday. The signs were just falling off the thing. It was ridiculous.
To blow up, frankly, the world. It's not going to happen. Nice to see you, buddy.
How close were you to striking Ron?
I was an hour away. We were all set to go. You're talking about yesterday.
Yes.
We were going to be striking it would have been happening right now. Yeah, it was all done. Like the boats, the ships are all loaded. They're loaded to the brim. And we were all set to start.
What did both nations tell you that convinced you?
They said that they feel they've had for the first time in almost 47 years. You know, Iran's been the bully of the Middle East for 47 years. I mean, literally the bully of the Middle East. And, they're nasty. They wanted a nuclear weapon. Had I not terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, had not terminated it, see, that's the wind. That can't happen with the real structure.
On Cuba, what do you want to see from Cuba
You're talking about Cuba? Well, we're going to see. Look, Cuba is calling us. They need help. Look, Cuba is a failed nation. Cuba needs help. And we'll do that. Just hold them, though. It's like an exercise game for us. Give that to me. I'll hold it. I'll hold it.
Mind you, he keeps talking about Iran for like 4 more minutes after this.
It's so beautiful. See, I look so thin. They'll say, oh, he's gotten so thin because I'm holding this. You don't have to look at my waist. You can look at this. You saw enough of my waist along with President Xi.
Are you confident that you can reach a diplomatic deal
With Cuba? I think so. Yeah, I think so. I am very prone toward the Cuban Americans. They've been incredible people. Many of them have lost family members. They've been very badly hurt themselves. They've been in prison. They've come to this country and they've been very successful. The Cuban American people in Miami, I mean, they are amazing people. Most of them are in Miami, in Florida, but mostly in Miami. I'm very, very prone to helping them. I mean, they've been, I think I got 97% of that vote. I want to help them. Now, they have family members in Cuba. They've been treated very, very badly. They've been treated extremely badly, and we're going to get that solved. That's not going to be hard for us to solve.
But you can do that without changing the regime there.
Well, I don't know about changing the regime. I can do that, whether you change the regime or not. You know, it's been a rough regime. They've killed a lot of people, but it's a country that really needs help. It has nothing. They can't turn on the lights. They can't eat. We don't want to see that. They called me over the last 2 days to say they made a lot of progress in there because we have them negotiating with us, and primarily Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, a little bit, and Bahrain, and some of the others. And we have them negotiating with them. We're all working together. It's like a team. And Israel, of course, and Israel's been a great partner. And so we are negotiating together. I got a call from numerous of these people. They know the people in Iran. Don't forget, when you talk about regime change, I think it's the ultimate regime change because the first level and the second level are no longer with us. They're someplace, but they're no longer with us. So we have real regime change. But I got a call yesterday, sir, could you wait? We think we're close to a deal. And that's okay. Now, I've heard it before with these people, and they change their mind. I made deals with them, no nuclear. We immediately get the nuclear dust. And they said, you're the only one can get it because the bombers did such an unbelievable job that the mountain literally collapsed on top of it. They said us, and they thought China would be the only 2 countries that could even get it. But I think it's important to get it, maybe psychologically more than anything else.
How long did they know that you were planning?
Tiffany Bob asked how I find this. I just watch all the pool feeds of the president, so I monitor and then I clip the things I think are the most relevant and or ridiculous. Sometimes ridiculous things happen. This was a very ridiculous one.
They knew I was getting ready to attack. I didn't tell them. I never tell anybody when.
You're in constant contact.
I never tell anybody when, but they knew that we were very close. I would say I was an hour away from making the decision to go today. And we would probably not be talking about a beautiful ballroom today. We'd be talking about that. And no, I had made the decision. So they called up. They had heard I made the decision. They said, sir, could you give us a couple of more days? Because we think they're being reasonable.
How long does it take for Iran to come?
Well, I mean, I'm saying 2 or 3 days, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something, maybe early next week, a limited period of time. Because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would start with Israel. They would blow it up, and they would blow it up fast, but they'd blow it up. And I'll tell you what, they'd go after Saudi Arabia, they'd go after Kuwait, They go after UAE. They go after Qatar. They go after, I think they go after the entire Middle East, and it would be a whole different negotiation.
Why is he not? And they would. Does he not know what a Quorum Shahar is? And they would use them quorum. They would use their Quorum Shahars on Israel. He's trying to pretend like they don't have capabilities. They have dominating capabilities.
It would not be.
He seems like a fool.
It would be nuclear holocaust, and
it's so hard
in my mind that they'd use it.
It's so hard for me as an analyst to analyze objectively stuff I know to be false. Or not full, like not the full picture. I know what the actual missiles Iran has can do, and I know he's not explaining it to the people, and that worries me.
And I deal with these people. They're extremely radicalized. These are not people like what I deal with you. You're a very nice guy. These are people that are seriously radicalized. They would use it. The only question, would it be the first minute, the first hour, or the first day? I'm not doing this politically. I'm doing this. Everyone tells me it's unpopular, but I think it's very popular. When they hear that it's having to do with nuclear weapons, weapons that could take out Los Angeles, could take out major cities very quick. When they hear that, you know, when they're explaining, I'll tell you what, when we explain it to people, I don't really have enough time to explain it to people. I'm too busy getting it done. When they understand, I think it's frankly very popular. But whether it's popular or not popular, I have to do it.
No, they don't need. I am getting increasingly frustrated with the leadership of this country. Increasingly, because one, nuclear weapons aren't even the biggest threat. I know what the Quorum Shahars are. I know that some of Iran's missiles that they can fire are absolutely devastating. When they fired that 565 kilogram warhead at Adad, the city of Adad in Israel near Beersheba, that thing hit at like Mach 7 right in hard ground. It was targeted, so it would hit hard ground as a backstop, and then destroyed like 4 to 7 different apartment buildings, 5 to 7 floors of each one, and that was not even their most intense missile. Iran has a 5,000 kilogram warhead that travels at Mach 8, the fastest fighter jet that we have, the F-22 Raptor, F-35, F-22, whatever is the fastest fighter jet we have, travels at Mach 2.5, which is 1,500 kilometers an hour. Iran's missiles in the atmosphere travel at Mach 8. That's very, very fast. Some of their other missiles travel at Mach 15 to Mach 18, exothermically. They go outside the atmosphere, then they come back in. It's wild. You can only go a certain speed because of wind resistance in the atmosphere. But if you go exothermic, you can go double that speed. We're talking like 15,000 kilometers an hour. It's like 9,000 to 11,000 miles an hour. Our jets can't touch it. That's exothermic. In the atmosphere, 8,000 miles. Only Mach 8. Only, what does it come out to? Probably like 4,500 miles an hour, like 8,000 to 9,000 kilometers an hour. Just unheard of speeds that if you had a human inside the missile while it was moving at those speeds, it would rip your body apart. Not to mention you wouldn't be able to breathe because you're pulling Mach 8 for like 7 minutes. Anyway, my point is, the nuclear threat from Iran is not the primary risk. It is their missile capabilities. They have a lot of them. They've been using this respite to rebuild. There's no way to militarily defeat Iran. There's no way to diplomatically negotiate them into defeat. They're never going to concede anything. They won. So where do we go from here? The only option to stop this fighting is Iran getting the nuclear deterrent, and someone's going to give it to them to stop this nonsense if it continues. I don't even know if it can at this point. Let's take a look at what Mr. President Trump had to say just an hour ago before he left to go give a speech to the Coast Guard graduating academy class in Connecticut.
Last night, every one of them. And we have a great candidate.
Oh, Motorhead, I wouldn't doubt that at all. We also screwed Russia on the purchase of Alaska. We never paid them the $8 million for Alaska. We screwed them. We screwed the Native Americans over Manhattan. I think the history of America is just kind of like doing terrible deals with people. And frankly, the British did this in Iran as well with the oil deals at the end of the 1800s. Imperialism is just kind of like screwing people over and then like telling them to like it. That's the best way I can explain it. And it's kind of like frustrating, especially when the American representative form of democracy is supposed to be this like embodiment of Enlightenment virtue. But if you think about it, what was Enlightenment virtue? The slave trade, like very like rigid hierarchical societies, like more centralized wealth than we have now, like aristocracies and monarchies and balls and all sorts of weird things. So, you know, Enlightenment virtue was just kind of like turned into do what thou will and then imposed on the world in the form of a godless sort of hegemonic form of democracy that actually, if you kind of read the Bible, Jesus talks about this. It invoked the name of God to impose itself on the world. It was the most hypocritical form of imperialism. So, I mean, yeah, you kind of just screw people over and then you're like, what are you going to do about it? It's not necessarily the best way to go about like running an empire or running a civilization or a government. I really don't think it was the best way to approach the 1900s and the 2000s. You kind of screwed history up a little bit, but we're at the change of an age, if you believe in sort of that astrological framing. So of course it was gonna be a little bit rough. It was a little rough when it went from the age of Aries to the age of Pisces. It's going to be a little rough going from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, but God willing, we'll get through it. Good morning, Robson. Good morning, Lex Animata and Yolanda. It's so good to see you all. We have about 48 hours before things really kick off, and now we're going to take a listen to what Mr. President had to say just about an hour ago before he took off to the Coast Guard Academy commencement ceremony in Connecticut.
I believe in Texas. I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate, a candidate that believes in 6 genders, and he takes hits at Jesus Christ, and he's wearing a mask 6 months ago, whereas anybody wearing a mask 6 months ago doesn't get it. And he's a vegan. He's a vegan in Texas. And you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas.
Did you talk to Senate leadership on the Republican side about endorsing against?
I didn't know that.
I did.
You can't get elected as a vegan in Texas. This is a whole new form of conventional political wisdom. What the hell? I didn't know you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas. I didn't even know that was even a consideration of Texas voters. I know they like their barbecue, but come on, there's lettuce involved in barbecues, I'm pretty sure. Hell if I know. Anyway, I'm a little confused.
They want to win. I know how to win.
Are you worried about ballroom?
Some of them don't know how to win. I know how to win. I think I've proven that, haven't
I? Yes, Mr. President figured it out. No, I don't have time. Yes, Mr. President has figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly, the way to pull this off, the way to make all of this happen, is to simply become a meat eater. Yes, he's got it figured out. The way to win elections in Texas, you just oppose veganism. Damn vegans.
Are you worried about the ballroom funding, Mr. President? You're speculating.
Yes, brisket is... Listen, if you just walk around with a giant hunk of brisket in Texas, according to Mr. President, you're automatically electable. All right, I got to try this out. I'm going to pull a Lyndon B. Johnson. I'm going to go teach at some obscure Spanish language school on the Mexican border. Then I'm going to go just right into the heart of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex with a giant thing of brisket. I'm going to hand it out, and I'm going to be like, I am not a vegetarian. Vote for me.
The ballrooms are being built. I'm building the ballroom. You saw it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We're building a great ballroom. It's been needed. It's a very military complex. The roof is actually a drone port. The roof of the ballroom is a drone port, and it gives great safety to everything below.
Everyone knows the ballroom is cover for an expansion of the POC, the Presidential Emergency Operations Center. Why must they insult the intelligence of the polity? It's not about the ballroom. We're using the ballroom for goats. It's about the POC.
We're building a really great ballroom, but It's also a strong military position for our people.
Do you think Vance or Rubio did better in the press briefing, or it's
Do I think who?
Vance or Rubio did better in the press briefing?
I think they both did great. What do you want me to say, right? I think they both. Do you like that? That's pretty good, though, right? I think they both did good. I watched both of them. So, both very good men, really are.
Did you have a problem with Prime Minister Netanyahu?
But her husband votes against me all the time. Can you imagine? I don't know what's with him. You better ask him what's with him. Her husband, she's married to a certain congressman. He votes against. He likes voting against Trump. You know what happens with that? It doesn't work out well. I don't know why he does. But.
Mr. President, are you going to Taiwan? Do you have any plans to call President Lai before you make your decision on the arms deal?
What?
Do you have any plans to call President Lai of Taiwan before you make a decision on the weapons package?
Well, I'll speak to him. I speak to everybody. We have that situation very well in hand. We had a great meeting with President Xi. It was amazing, actually. It was amazing. Many of you were there. We'll work on that, the Taiwan problem.
What have you said to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on strikes?
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's a very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister, and he's not treated right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had a poll this morning. I'm 99%, so that's good. But
did he just say Bibi will do anything he wants him to do? All right. I guess we see who wears the pants in that relationship.
No, he's a wartime prime minister, and I just don't think they treat him well.
Mr. President, what do you do?
I think they have a president over there that treats him very poorly.
You're on the same page with him on Iran?
Yeah.
Mr. President, to anyone about replacing Lauren Boebert after she...
If somebody comes along, I'd look. It's a little late in the race, but if somebody comes along, I'd look. Certainly.
Poland troops, sir.
Pratt, do you see yourself in him at all? A former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's a character. I don't know him. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know. If you have a rigged vote out there, that's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. Very hard to win because the elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California because I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They send out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats do, I guess. But disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards, and Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do...
Within the next 2 hours, the U.S. is going to announce charges against the former president of Cuba, Raul Castro. I repeat, within the next 2 hours, the United States will be announcing criminal charges against the former president of Cuba, Raul Castro, related to a 1990s attack on Cuban dissidents involving some kind of airplane being shot down. You won't see that live here because I'm probably going to go eat lunch. This was just supposed to be a breakfast stream, so we could have a chance to get caught up heading into Friday or whenever Mr. President Trump is going to make this terrible decision to attack Iran again. But yes, I'm not really sure if they arrested Raul Castro or they're just going to symbolically announce charges against him. We'll find out after 1 p.m. Eastern.
My list. But California is one of the most dishonest states for voting.
What's your message to the cadets today?
Just enjoy your life, They enjoy it. They're great guys. It's my second time at the Coast Guard Academy. They're great guys. We like them. You don't realize how important Coast Guard is until you have a hurricane. And I remember the big hurricane in Texas where these kids go on boats and they're going to waves that are 20 times higher than the boat. And I say, can they really make it? I'm watching this. And they say they find a way, but they were going into waves, these massive waves, to save people that were inside. And you don't realize it, but boy, they are good. They are good seamen. They are unbelievable. I wouldn't want to do it.
Mr. President,
I'm a very brave person, but I wouldn't want to do it.
what do you make of President Xi meeting with Putin this week?
Well, he told me he was going to. I think it's good. I get along with both of them, but I think it's good. I don't know if the ceremony was quite as brilliant as mine. I watched. I think we topped them. Good team. But no, I get along with Putin. I get along with everybody, but your husband and a few others.
On the Iran deal, would you be open to a limited deal that just covered the Strait of Hormuz?
What does that mean?
On Iran, just a limited deal just for a longer ceasefire?
We'd have to open the strait. That would open immediately. So we're going to give this one shot. I'm in no hurry. You never think, oh, the midterms, I'm in a hurry. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. We can do it either way, but I'd like to see few people killed. I just wonder whether or not they have the good of the people, because some of the things they're doing to me means they don't have the good of the people, and they have to have the good of the people. There's a lot of anger now in Iran because people are living so badly. There's a lot of foment that we haven't seen before so much, and we'll see what happens.
Has it taken longer than you expected it would to make a deal with Iran?
Well, let's put it this way. You were in Vietnam 19 years, right? You were in Afghanistan and these other places 10 years. You were in Iraq. How long were you in Iraq? 12 years? You were in Korea for 7 years. World War II is different. That was 4 years. I'm in for 3 months. And much of it's been ceasefire. So, and you know what? You lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers in these various wars. In 2 wars, Venezuela, where we lost nobody, and here, we lost 13 people. Now, 13 people is 13 too much, but we lost 13 people. In other wars, you lost hundreds of thousands of people. So, people don't like it when you say, oh, do you know you've lost 13? We've lost in 2 major wars. We took over Venezuela. We essentially took over Iran, and we've lost so far 13 people. Somebody else would have lost 100,000 people. Okay? But I get a kick when I look at somebody on television. He's lost 13 people. I lost 13 people. They lost 13 people leaving an airport. Obama, 13 very good people that I got to know their families. So what we've done is amazing, and we have them decimated. Iran is decimated, and I mean, you're going to see things that are amazing. You're going to see a lot of amazing things over the next 3 years for our country. And I'd like to talk more about the economic, because we have $18 trillion being spent, and no country's ever had anything like that. We have car plants pouring in from Mexico, Canada. They don't want to be there. There's no reason to be there because they want to sell to our market. We have car companies and plants coming in from Germany, from South Korea, from Japan, coming in by the billions. And they're being built now. You're going to see things that nobody thought was possible. You're going to end up saying he's the greatest president that ever lived. Goodbye, everybody.
James called me over the weekend, Mr. President. He suggested that there's still people in your DOJ and FBI that are waiting you out. They're waiting until your administration is over to get back to work. Do you think those people are still in the DOJ and FBI?
I hope not. Well, we're going to seek them out. We'll seek them out. We'll get rid of them. Okay? Because you have in every agency, you have scum. And certainly they did in the FBI and DOJ. But Todd Blanche is doing a fantastic job. Cash is doing a very good job. So we will prevail. I've been standing here a long time with you, many years, right? And they've been saying, I think it's it. I think he's trouble. Here I am, you know. It's a very constant situation. But I think you're going to find that we have great people in the FBI. And we have great people in DOJ. Todd Blanche has really been doing a great job. And a lot of things to come. We have a lot of things that are coming right now. It's going to be great. Our country's doing well. Thank you.
Okay, so that about the troops, that was all over the place. That was all over the place. This just happened, by the way. This was like maybe 30 minutes ago, maybe 45. All right. I'm not necessarily sure. I don't even think he's going to use sort of conventional logic. I think he's just going to act. I think the reason why people keep getting this analysis wrong, by the way, Al Hadath, citing Pakistani sources, is saying that as soon as tomorrow, the Pakistani delegation will be meeting with the Iranian delegation to announce a final agreement to end the war. So I think, the pattern tends to be Pakistani sources, then Axios sources, then no developments at all. Normally it's like a market tactic when you start hearing it, but who knows? Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised and we'll get a peace ceremony. The reports from Al-Hadath sources say we're going back to Islamabad once the text of a final agreement, which I'm not really sure how it's possible for them to have a final agreement, the two sides, Israel, the U.S., and Pakistan and Iran, through the Pakistani mediators, when the U.S. and Iran are fundamentally opposed on the 5 core issues with regards to ending this war, which is, of course, the nuclear file, and then also the presence of U.S. troops in the region, the future of control over the Strait of Hormuz, and then sanctions relief for Iran, and then compensation. The U.S. isn't going to move on compensation at all. The U.S. isn't even willing to release 25% of frozen Iranian funds, which are Iran's own money and doesn't even cost the U.S. money. First of all, the Pakistani sources have always pushed this narrative that there's going to be a peace deal. Then Axios will run with it. Then there's no peace deal, and it just sort of bumps the markets. Now, as far as I know, some of these stories about peace deals are actually being investigated for insider trading, because it's it's a way to manipulate the markets, apparently. So I take it all with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. But who knows? Maybe we'll get our peace ceremony in Islamabad. We'll bring the goats. It'll be great. Mimi will be thrilled. We'll bring Kofi the dog. Bunny will get to go. We'll all go hang out in Pakistan. Now, taking you to pretty shocking news, actually, out of Massachusetts. The Massachusetts State Police Training Academy is now closed to recruits after a report has come out calling for 103 reforms. Yes, you are not mishearing that. The formal training academy for the very troubled Massachusetts State Police is now closed to new recruits after a report came out within the last hour identifying 103 different deficiencies. What is going on with the state police in Massachusetts? There was the cover-up of Sandra Birchmore's murder. There was the cover-up of John O'Keefe's murder. There was the Tiffany Overstreet charges. And it all ties back to this Massachusetts State Police B-Fit Squad, which had Lenny Kupenrath and Brian Tully and John Fanning and Yuri Buchanan on it and all these other people. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there's something rotten in the state of Massachusetts. And first of all, the fact that they've now shut down the training academy, if you've been following this stream, I would occasionally interrupt our war updates to just tell you how ridiculous. Now, some people will say, yes, police everywhere are ridiculous. No. Every single week in Massachusetts, it's another murder covered up, another state police officer driving drunk and killing someone. Now, there are redeeming stories, of course, among the sort of corruption, but every week it's another one. There's something actually systemically wrong in that is far worse proportionally to other police departments internationally. It's almost as bad as you can imagine. It's almost like this part of the state police, just part of it, and some local cops were a Gestapo enforcement unit for a drug and prostitution ring where Ghislaine Maxwell was the property manager and Epstein was the pimp of all pimps. Now, you may be saying, Grant, that's absurd. There's no way you can prove it. Yes, I can. I can prove that Jeffrey Epstein visited Stoughton, the idyllic paradise of Stoughton, Massachusetts, on July 8th and July 9th of 2014, and I believe that that's why Tiffany Overstreet, who was a woman that was in a romantic relationship dating to the fall of 2013 with a man named Robert Devine, who was the former deputy chief of the Stoughton Police Department, which in turn, if you look back far enough, who got that Stoughton Police Department to the position where Robert Devine could become deputy chief? None other than U.S. Attorney Carmen Ortiz, who took out 2 of the high-ranking members of the Stoughton Police Department through federal charges right before Devine came in and took over the department, therein immediately signing a contract with Learning for Life, a charity that I believe was connected to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, to in turn run something called the Police Explorers Program. Why then is the fall of 2013 so interesting? Well, because you can look at Ghislaine Maxwell's bank records and see that she went to Stoughton herself for the first time around 2000. 2003 to 2006 to the very area where there was a restaurant. I actually believe there were 3 of them, one in Stoughton, one in Dedham, and one in Boston, that was operating as, in essence, a shell operation for a drug trafficking and prostitution network centered on Epstein. So anyway, in 2014, when Epstein comes to Stoughton himself, the exact area where Ghislaine Maxwell went in 2006, right before, then Deputy Chief, or whatever he was at the time, Robert Devine of the Stoughton Police Department, set up the Learning for Life and Police Explorers program. In the fall of 2013, Devine starts dating a woman named Tiffany Overstreet. By the summer of 2014, Tiffany Overstreet is threatening to expose Devine to his wife for their affair. What does that lead to? I believe that's why Jeffrey Epstein came to Stoughton on July 8th and 9th of 2014, and in turn why the state police unit that was working for the Norfolk DA at the time, and still to this day, then filed criminal charges on behalf of Robert Devine to shut up Tiffany Overstreet. I told the Congress. There's something rotten in the state of Massachusetts, and I'm going to prove it. But the fact that just an hour ago, this is actually a quite serious development, the State Police Academy in the state of Massachusetts has shut down and will not accept any more recruits, at least for the time being, is quite a big development. I think we're going to find out that sections and factions within the state police were operating as a Gestapo enforcement unit for Jeffrey Epstein. You heard it here first on Towel News. I will be vindicated. I will be proven right. I'm going to free the little birdies too. You should have seen what these people were doing. In my opinion, it's grotesque, ladies and gentlemen. They were operating bars. It looked like restaurants, but you would go to the restaurant and you could order women from the servers. Yes, if you were a cop or a fireman or other high-level connected politicians, you could go into the restaurant. It would ostensibly look like a bar or restaurant, but you could order women and then go to the back room. Oh, goodness, ladies and gentlemen. And what does that mean? Well, it certainly means that Sandra Birchmore, the young woman whose life, according to the federal government, was tragically taken on February 1st, 2021 at 9:27 p.m. Eastern Time precisely by Matthew Farwell, then a Stoughton police officer, who, on video, went into Sandra's apartment and then hung her from a door, causing her and her 8 to 10-week-old unborn baby boy to both die. And who was the state police unit that cleared Matthew Farwell? None other than the very same unit that investigated Tiffany Overstreet, the Norfolk District Attorney, Michael Morrissey, his state police unit, which was run at the time by Brian Tully, his executive officer John Fanning, and his Sergeant Yuri Buchanan. Well, what's interesting about that, John Fanning and Brian Tully, when they were both sergeants, were on the BFIT squad together. Yuri Buchanan might have been on it as well, as was Lenny Koppenrath. But what's more interesting, John Fanning, the executive officer of Brian Tully's state police unit, and Yuri Buchanan both used to work in Stoughton as cops. So when John Fanning wrote a report personally exonerating Matthew Farwell for the murder of Sandra Birchmore in 2021, do you think maybe it raised some questions about what Matthew Farwell knew, where Sandra Birchmore actually worked, and why exactly this state police unit shows up time and time and time again, covering up things that look like they're very much connected to a brothel and drug trafficking network that tied into Maxwell and Epstein? I'll tell you why. Because where there's smoke, there's fire. I called the Congress. Then I got retweeted by Rep. Luna. Then I called state government oversight officials. They were very concerned. It involves the children. I petitioned my government. I have grievances. Anyway, there's a lot of developments going on. It's going to become clear, I think, in time. There's some things I can't really talk about. It's going to become very clear in time how bad this is really going to get for some of these people. I told you all, stop buying prostitutes. I said don't hurt the children. And I said that they were coming for some of you, and now they're coming. It's going to be great. Just wait till you see what happens when Adam Deutsch gets elected Norfolk County District Attorney. Just wait till you see what happens. They're going to get him. There is a pernicious rot in this state, and it all comes back to the people who think it's no big deal to buy prostitutes. No, you're enabling human trafficking. Stop it. You corrupted my damn government. You almost lost the republic. All because you all can't just go out and find love. I understand it's a very isolating modern time. The solution is not to enable human trafficking. It's absurd. I'm mad. I'm on a rant. I absolutely will not provide quarter for people buying prostitutes. And please stop doing that. It may seem harmless and innocuous. It's not. It enables human trafficking, and then it causes this system of blackmail where you lose the republic. And I won't lose this damn government because some of you can't find people to have sex with unless you pay money. Not happening. Outrageous. Go on a date. Go to church. Go bowling. If there's still bowling alleys. There are places out there for you to find romantic connection. Stop buying humans. Getting all mad. Anyway, the point is, the fact that the state police somehow got involved with all of this really makes me angry. And I'm going to see this story through to fruition, and that agency is going to clean itself up, come hell or high water. I'll go down and talk to the governor myself if I have to. I'll keep naming the damn names. We are not having a ring of cops and firemen and district attorneys going out there engaging in the purchase of prostitutes. What a coincidental frame drop. What a coincidental frame drop. You can't silence the towel in the middle of a rant. I'm a towel. I was ranting. We're back. Sometimes I have frame drops. I have a special kind of internet. Anyway, my point is, there's something very rotten. Mark my words. Come 6 months from now, 12 months from now, when this all comes to fruition regarding the state police in Massachusetts and whatever the hell they were involved in, you're going to be like, I remember. Grant was mad. And I was mad justifiably. They would take 14-year-old girls, bring them into these training programs to become cops, and then turn them out as prostitutes after they were done abusing them when they were underage. I got a lot of qualms with some firemen and some cops in this state making me all mad. It's disturbing. And then to find out that Jeffrey Epstein was keeping these girls, like, track of them all and running drug rehab clinics. Listen, this Epstein story is not done. I've been covering the war, but trust me, this Epstein story is not done. He infected every level of American society with his sadistic, Canaanite, Baal-worshipping, child-sacrificing, child-abusing, prostitute-running, drug-pimping operation. Every level, every state, every orifice of the federal government, no pun intended, every part of the intelligence agencies. These people, these Canaanite, Baal-worshipping demons, they thought they were so smart. Nope. If you hurt kids, if you participated in that, if you worship Baal, you should leave the United States, because there's 400 million of us and we're really mad. And apparently we got the backing of like the half the rest of the world. I know, Bunny, it's absolutely disturbing that they're hiding the full Epstein files. Even what we've seen so far basically took down like half the establishment. But let's not be coy. We know that there are people in every community, in all of our communities, who are walking around with the facade of police or firefighters or doctors or lawyers or dentists or whatever the hell they are. But at night, or whenever the hell they go into these weird ritualistic groups, they worship Baal, they hurt kids, they like doing disgusting things, and they think none of us plebs are ever going to notice. Well, much like the war, we've noticed, and we're really mad about it. That's my opinion. I'm a towel. I really don't like people who hurt children. I really don't like people who hurt animals. And I don't like people who take away other people's autonomy to keep them in an open-air prison in my country, which is supposed to be a republic. How dare you? I get so mad. They had these girls, the women that would fall into this Epstein trap under constant threat of prosecution. They would threaten to like bring them into family court, ruin their lives. It's terrible. They owned these people. I will not have serfs in my country. I know what the 13th Amendment says. Why do you think they use criminal charges? Because the 13th Amendment doesn't apply once you get convicted of a crime. They enslaved these women and boys. I'm going to get these people. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get them. Every cop, every fireman, every DA, every politician, every judge, I'm going to get them by name, and I'm going to have them federally prosecuted. Hashtag towel for president. If you make me president, I will find every person every state, every local, every federal official who partook in that disturbing behavior with Epstein, and I will bring them to justice federally. I don't care if they were buying girls at the restaurants. I don't care what their crime was. They will all be held accountable. We'll create forget using the ICE centers to hold people based on their political views. That's absurd. No. We're going to use those ICE detention centers to, one, continue to make sure that people immigrate legally. Two, make sure that anyone involved with Epstein is treated the same as someone who's not in this country legally. Then those rich pricks can go think about what they did. How about them apples? Here's the latest from Hezbollah in Lebanon. Latest from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Now I'll take you to Syria, where you can see a picture of Israeli interceptors targeting several Iranian drones in the areas of Damascus and Dara. Now taking you to Russia, where another Russian refinery is on fire this morning. This time, Ukrainian drones struck near the Kostovo refinery in Nahasny Novgorod Oblast, which is about 800 kilometers from Ukraine's border, reports Kyle J. Glenn. Now I'll take you to the area of Burj Rahal and Al Abbasiyah, where another Israeli airstrike targeted southern Lebanon just 6 hours ago. Okay, now I'll take you to the latest from Ukraine. Wait, actually, hold on. Yes, okay, this is the latest from Russia showing off downed Ukrainian drones, which look like they are Iranian Shahed 101, 107 UAVs. But what actually happened was Iran tried to send these to the Houthis. America intercepted the shipment. I remember when they intercepted this, actually. It was in the north of the Bab al-Mandab Strait. Iran tries to deliver to the Houthis at this port to the west of Sana'a in the north of Yemen. And we intercepted the shipment and then sent it to Ukraine. That's really epic. So here's the Russians being like, well, you know, we stopped these drones. They all seem to be Iranian made, but Ukraine got them somehow. Well, I wonder how.
Вашему вниманию представлены беспилотные летательные аппараты Лелека. Это АИС по-русски, разведывательный дрон производства Украина. Также представлены ударные дроны Х-101, Х-107, и...
So he's like, the first one, that looks Ukrainian made. Then the second two, he's like, these are Shaheeds. And then he doesn't say where they came from because they're Iranian made. And then he goes to the next one. That's actually kind of funny. The Russians must have been so baffled when they were getting attacked, but from Ukraine with Iranian drones. Now, if you really work hard, you can put it together, obviously, as Mahadi H has done here. It's obviously an intercepted Iranian shipment. God bless you, Tiffany Bob. Hello, Tiffany Bob's mom. You drive very safe on your way home. You both are honorary towels. I hope your infusion went wonderful. Taking you now further into Russia, where a Russian Pantsir air defense system completely missed a Ukrainian drone. So you can see the drone right here. The air defense obviously misses. That's the drone. The air defense misses. And this drone then went on to hit the Kostovo oil refinery in Russia. So Ukraine is just striking at will. Ukraine doesn't hit civilians. They hit oil refineries over and over and over. As I mentioned to you earlier today, Israel's parliament approved a bill on Wednesday to dissolve itself, potentially bringing forward by a few weeks the next national election, which surveys predict Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will lose. That is from the Reuters Wire. All right. Oh, yes. So let me just show you. What Ben Gvir posted. I cannot believe that an Israeli minister went into a prison where international activists are being held before they get deported after trying to break the Israeli blockade of Gaza, which is, by the way, still besieged by Israeli forces. They don't allow humanitarian aid indirectly. You have to go through certain organizations. They don't allow Al Jazeera into Gaza. They don't allow independent media into Gaza. They don't allow people to travel there. Gaza is an important travel route. Do you understand, folks? Gaza would be a flourishing area if people were allowed to travel from Egypt to Turkey or Egypt to Lebanon. Gaza would be flourishing. The only reason Israel's imposing a blockade is because they're frustrated that the international community won't let them further take territory from the people of Gaza and the Palestinians who live there. It's a very important area for land traffic from the north of Africa into like Turkey and the Mediterranean, and it can't be used because it's completely blocked off. Oh, God bless you, Judas for all. I'm going to do my best to rest up heading into Friday. I do think it will be eventful. And so this video, I mean, just so you understand, it's not like anyone, I think even domestically in Israel, supports what this guy's doing. The opposition parties called it out. The French called it out. The Spanish called it out. They literally summoned the Israeli ambassador, these other countries, to yell at the ambassador over what this man, this moron, Ben Gvir, I hate to use such intense language, but you don't go into a prison, especially when things are very precarious right now in terms of the war, and film international activists who are from all sorts of countries and humiliate them. Look what he did.
Free Palestine!
שקט. טובה. עבודה טובה. ברוכים הבאים לישראל, אנחנו בעלי הבית. ככה צריך. עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל חי.
Disgusting. Disgusting. He posted this on his government account.
לא להתרגש מהצעקות שלהם, לא להתרגש.
This part really pissed me off. Like the fact that she's in zip ties and the guy, like this cowardly official, this guy, he's not even a human in my eyes. I'm sorry. He's just a despicable, to take someone who's in zip ties, grab them by the back of their neck, and push them in a stress position to the floor. Like, how little of a human, how little of a man do you have to be, that security guard? He's going to live the rest of his life knowing that every country around the world watched that footage and thought he was less than a man. You literally have to be you have to actually have very little self-worth to be able to do that to another human. You have to have been either so indoctrinated or under so much duress or literally have lost your soul to be able to do it. And now his reputation for the rest of his life, he's going to wake up every day and be like, wow, every country on earth hated me. Every single one. I was legitimately hated by every single country. I got my foreign minister summoned to Turkey, and I got the ambassador summoned to Barcelona, who then got screamed at because I'm not a man. You know, that's what that guy's going to wake up thinking every day for the rest of his life. And frankly, he deserves it. He himself should be brought in front of those governments, and then they should bring him to the International Criminal Court. What he did there is despicable. Not just the fact that Ben Gvir filmed it and put it on an official government account. That man, whoever that man is, should live for the rest of his life knowing that 197 countries around the world, some of which aren't even fully recognized as states, despise him. That's what he deserves. And he probably will think about it for the rest of his life. He saw that video go up. He saw his government get literally excoriated by multiple foreign governments within 30 minutes, and his own opposition. Let me just be clear. The Israeli opposition had this to say, translating from the Hebrew: "You knowingly caused harm to our state in this disgraceful display, and not for the first time. You have undone tremendous professional and successful efforts made by so many people, from the IDF to foreign ministry staff and many others. No, Ben-Gvir, you are not the face of Israel." So let's just say it did not go over very well. Let's take a listen to what the Italian Prime Minister had to say almost immediately after Ben-Gvir posted that video.
We are a people of war.
No, that's not what he said. Try again.
Conversation. Italian PM Meloni. The images of the Israeli minister Ben-Gvir are unacceptable. It is inadmissible that these demonstrators, including many Italian citizens, are subjected to this treatment that violates human dignity. The Italian government is immediately taking, at the highest institutional levels, all necessary steps to secure the immediate release of the Italian citizens involved. Italy further demands an apology for the treatment reserved to these demonstrators and for the total contempt shown toward the explicit requests of the Italian government. For these reasons, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation will immediately summon the Israeli ambassador to request formal clarifications on what has occurred.
It doesn't sound harsh, but for diplomatic language, it's very harsh. Let me take you to the latest from Trey Inks now, who provided an update about the IRGC statement I told you about at the beginning of the broadcast.
Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps issued a new threat overnight, warning the United States and Israel against launching a fresh bombing campaign. The IRGC said in a statement, quote, "If the aggression against Iran is repeated, the regional war that was promised will this time go beyond the borders of the region, and you will be dealt crushing blows in places you do not expect, and you will fall into the abyss of defeat and destruction." The threat comes as President Trump says he was just an hour away from deciding to strike Iran earlier this week and is giving the regime a few additional days to reach a deal.
How close were you to striking Iran?
I was.
We already saw that.
As for the possibility of an agreement, reports indicate there are still serious gaps in the positions of the United States and Iran. Vice President J.D. Vance was asked about this process yesterday.
We're locked and loaded. We don't want to go down that pathway, but the president is willing and able to go down that pathway if we have to. So what we've done is tried to be as clear as possible. What are our red lines? What are the things that we're willing to be accommodating on? And what are the things that we absolutely must have? And as the president has said ad nauseum, and I think I've said it a lot too, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues to put economic pressure on the Iranian regime. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper described the current state of play in the Gulf, with the shaky ceasefire still in place.
The ceasefire continues, and consistent with the president's direction, we've established a highly effective maritime blockade of Iran. To date, we've turned away 88 ships. There has been zero trade into Iranian ports and zero trade out of Iranian ports, squeezing Iran economically and creating powerful leverage for the ongoing negotiations.
Resume any day.
I also heard a report that Mr. President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu had a long call that was intense. Here's an update on some of the fighting that's been happening in southern Lebanon. This statement released by Hezbollah just 3 hours ago.
Conversation. Statement issued by the Operations Room of the Islamic Resistance regarding the heroic confrontation in the town of Echdetha. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Permission to fight has been given to those who are being fought because they were wronged. And indeed, Allah is competent to give them victory. Allah, the Most High, the Most Great, has spoken the truth. For several days, the Israeli enemy army has been attempting to destroy the resistance's defenses in the town of Echdetha by conducting intensive airstrikes with warplanes and concentrated artillery shelling, while introducing explosives, bringing in bulldozers and engineering vehicles. All within the framework of efforts to advance and occupy the town, for which the resistance had been lying in wait. And yesterday, on the 19th of May 2026, at 2010, a composite force from the Israeli enemy army attempted to advance, for the third time in a week, from the town of Rashaf toward the town of Echdetha. After the Mujahideen detected the force, they ambushed it at the southern entrance to the town of Echdetha, in the stadium area, and engaged it with medium-range and rocket weapons, achieving confirmed hits among its members. At 2050, a Merkava tank attempted to advance toward the Hdutha pond, so the Mujahideen targeted it with appropriate weapons, destroyed it, and then clashed with its crew. In response, enemy warplanes and artillery intervened to support the force and provide cover for withdrawing the targeted tank. At 21:05, the Resistance's artillery targeted enemy army reinforcement forces arriving at the southern entrance to the town with mortar rounds. At 22:15, another force attempted to advance to the junction of the road leading to the town of Aitar al-Jabal, so the Mujahideen targeted it with direct fire weapons and destroyed a second Merkava tank. At 0:10, the Mujahideen targeted a third tank with a guided missile at the southern entrance to the town of Hdutha near the stadium, leading to its destruction and the complete withdrawal of the force to Khalat al-Daraj in the Al-Hama area under heavy smoke cover. At 3:15, another force from the Israeli enemy army attempted to advance toward the Al-Baydar area via the same road it had taken in 2 previous attempts over the past days, but the Mujahideen were lying in wait for it, clashed with it, and destroyed a fourth tank. In the face of this heroic standoff and the scale of losses in its ranks, the enemy army was forced to withdraw at dawn toward the town of Rashaf. And victory is not but from Allah, the exalted in might, the wise. Wednesday the 20th of May 2026. 03 Du al-Hijjah 1447
Right, you can see the statement there in Arabic as well. That was translated into the English. So that was Hezbollah's summary of the overnight fighting in southern Lebanon. Okay, now taking you to scenes from the IDF, who had this to say about the overnight fighting in South Lebanon.
Conversation. Spokesperson for the Israel Defense Forces. A few meters from a mosque, the Israel Defense Forces targeted a weapons production site belonging to the terrorist organization Hezbollah, which had been established in a building used as a clinic. IDF forces targeted a weapons production site belonging to the terrorist organization Hezbollah in the Tyre area in southern Lebanon on the day before yesterday, Monday. This site had been established in a building that was being used as a civilian clinic and was located just a very short distance from a mosque. Following the strike, secondary explosions were identified at the site, indicating the presence of weapons inside the building. The terrorist organization Hezbollah continues to operate in proximity to and from within civilian infrastructure, including religious sites and medical centers, and exploits them in an abusive manner to advance terrorist plots against the citizens of the State of Israel and IDF forces.
Okay, so you hear both sides describing what happened overnight. What actually happened, probably somewhere in the middle. Latest footage from the IDF on your screen there, suggesting that it targeted this Hezbollah site next to a mosque in Sur, which is also pronounced in the English Tyre. My name is Grant Smith-Ellis. We're getting to the end of our breakfast update. Here's more footage from Hezbollah released today, but showing an attack on, I believe, the 13th of May. No, actually the 19th of May. So released today from yesterday, showing an attack on an Israeli Iron Dome launcher and its crew at the Jal al-Alam military site in northern Israel using an FPV drone, possibly equipped with a PG-7VL high-explosive anti-tank heat warhead. I have no idea what that is, so we'll try to learn. Obviously, I do not endorse either side. I just play you what they put out through their official military channels. It's for you to discern what's actually going on the ground. I'll try to help the best I can. That is not cheap. Let me tell you right now, those Iron Dome launchers that you saw there, those are not cheap. That thing on your screen right there is not cheap. That's like a $500 Hezbollah drone destroying, I mean, I'm being conservative here, multiple $1 million of Israeli/US taxpayer dollar. That drone costs nothing. It's stunning to me that they are pulling this off. I mean, they can hit those. That is a very important battery. That's a Iron Dome interceptor battery. That is, remember how I told you Hezbollah's job is to bring down Israeli air defenses in the north so Iran can launch missiles at Tel Aviv? Yeah, well, there's your primary source proof. Each missile, yes, but that's not one missile. That's a battery of missiles. I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably between 4 and 12. It's more than 4, less than 12. That's a missile battery. That's not one missile. 24 times 4. Wow. I guess 12, but it turns out there's 24 in that battery. I'm not a ballistics missile expert. I analyze this footage and learn. So thank you, First 48, very much for that helpful context. That is a very expensive, and trust me, that drone took out that whole battery. The drone flies directly into it. Watch. It hits the top of the battery too. And then the feed cuts. Wow. An absurd scale, juxtaposition of the cost of the drone and the damage it does. And it's taking out those drone batteries at will. Here's the latest from an Iranian security source.
Conversation. Translated from Arabic. URGENT. Iranian security source. Important decisions have been made in Tehran regarding how to respond to any new attack. Just as Iran's response to the initial American and Israeli attacks in the last war, the 12-day war, including expanding the scope of the war regionally and closing the Strait of Hormuz, exceeded expectations. Any new attack is likely to provoke a more ferocious response from Iran, targeting a broader and more comprehensive array of targets in the early morning hours.
So that was the latest. Motorhead, hit the triple Bob. Motorhead, I will absolutely get you more context. It was before Trident and Polaris, and it was before the sub program. We're talking before, right when Dianoa was built, like between 44 and maybe like 61. We're talking specifically about like what Oppenheimer was working on at Los Alamos, and it has to do with the way it's not just the way the reaction's created, it's how you spark like the first explosion to cause the reaction within the bomb. I'm not a physicist. You are, Motorhead, so I'll defer to your knowledge. But yes, let me get you the actual name. I got it wrong initially. There is a scientist. He did go from very close to Los Alamos over to Israel. It caused a huge kerfluffle. Actually, JFK was very upset about it. He was Israeli. He was an American scientist. He was an so Tripoli Bob, we're talking a little earlier than the Nautilus. The guy I'm talking about was an American scientist who was spying for Israel and then went over to Israel, and that's how Dianoa was built. Dianoa probably would have existed notwithstanding, but Israel didn't want to ask for permission. It really upset JFK. It really upset Eisenhower, but JFK was very upset about it. I forget who the prime minister of Israel was at the time, but it caused a huge diplomatic kerfluffle because Israel just got this tech out of nowhere. We're not talking about the nuclear subtech. We're talking about the actual ability to cause the reaction within the bomb that facilitates an explosion. It's a very it's like a two-stage process, and the way that it's done, it's more known now, but in like the 40s and 50s and 60s, this was like a national security secret of like the highest order. It was the most important, probably. It's classified actually differently than regular military secrets. It's classified under the Atomic Energy Act of like 1940 something, and it's actually code word classified differently too. It's called like restricted or something material. It's the most serious type of classified information. It's actually I'd call it parallel, but actually superseding classification system to military classifications, and that's what that guy took. He took restricted American nuclear secrets in like right after it developed in like the 40s and 50s. It was a big problem. It's still not really known about now that I think about it. I showed you the Iron Dome battery. Let me show you the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz over the last 24 hours, where the IRGC has announced 20 or 36 ships passed with their permission. So that you're seeing a real-time map of the Strait of Hormuz over the past 24 hours. It's about 30 seconds. It's not really playing well. Oh, because I set it at really high quality. Hold on. So you're looking at the shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz over the past 24 hours. This video doesn't play very nice, but it's alright. So I'm able to show it to you. And you can kind of see some traffic flowing. I think about 36 ships were allowed through by the IRGC. A lot of them are Chinese ships. You can see this is the northern route, so a lot of the ships will pay Iran and then go the northern route. Nobody can go through here because it's mined, but they all go through up here. And this is the actual ship data. They have to turn this on, otherwise they would crash into each other. Sometimes they turn it off. That's called going dark, the dark fleet. But this is the data. So you can't fake this. They're either there or they're not. So you're seeing all of the traffic, let's just be clear, all of the traffic is basically going through the northern route. You see this northern route up here? That's called the northern route. This is what Iran controls. You see how all of the traffic is going up here? These are probably military boats. But you see how all the commercial traffic is going up here? That shows that Iran is in complete control of the strait. You can only go through, this is all mined. No one goes down here. But all the ships going up here are paying Iran for the privilege. And that's the real-time data. So, meanwhile, Jeff Bezos was on CNBC saying that he only thinks news is relevant if it's profitable. So he's been firing all the journalists. Well, Mr. Bezos, your podcast, so you fired like half your Pulitzer winners. Your podcast has maybe 517 views a video. This war coverage, Mr. Bezos, easily over the past 67 or 70 days has reached more people in more countries than your newspaper. So you're failing. You're failing miserably. Get out of news. It's not an industry. You don't deserve to be in it. You're frankly disgracing Edith Tarbell's legacy. And even if you want to call Watergate a limited hangout, you're kind of disgracing Woodward and Bernstein's legacy. Leave it to the professionals who don't do this for money. Get out of news. We want you out of news. You're losing money. You're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. You're going to keep losing hundreds of millions of dollars. It's never going to generate revenue. Go watch the movie Network. News did not generate revenue in the 70s. It did not generate revenue when S.S. McClure ran McClure's magazine. He got a little megalomania and then collapsed it all. But it wasn't going to work. It's not a profit-driven enterprise. You get a little bit, you have enough to live. It's closer to a vocation. It's like doing philosophy. For the love of goodness, get out of news. We don't want you in news. We want you to lose money. We're intentionally taking your viewers, we're taking your advertisers, we're taking your content distribution channels, we're taking your audience, we're taking your sources. We want you out of news. We're bankrupting you on purpose. And this man's sitting there no, don't worry, news is only successful if it generates a profit. No, we want all of that money that you would spend on whatever the hell you buy, caviar or yachts or God knows what people with that amount of money buy. They certainly don't spend it helping the poor, in my opinion. Anyway, we want you bankrupted. We want you to suffer, and we're brain draining you and watching you spend money on something that is causing less people to watch and read your content. So, hello, Mishigama. Anyway, he's kind of dumb. Bezos, he's probably good at making money, but he by moving packages around or whatever. But bro, stay in your lane. What are you doing? Not only is it not working, but you're giving all of your subscribers and viewers over to independent media, and we're just running with it. And it's working really well because we're good at what we do, and we don't want to work for you anyway. We don't like you. So, Meanwhile, the Iranian Speaker of the Parliament, who will be replaced next week, by the way, there will be elections in the early days of next week to replace the Iranian Speaker of the Parliament. Maybe he'll win again. He quotes J.D. Vance from Hillbilly Elegy, Chapter 11, saying, "We felt trapped in 2 unwinnable wars, and a disproportionate share of fighters came from our neighborhood." So the Iranian Speaker of the Parliament is showing that he's reading J.D. Vance's book. And then Galbaf says, "Hillbilly 2 incoming. America's poor and forgotten will foot the bill for the broligarchs, Diamond the Demon, and the Beltway war merchants." Broligarchs is a great term. Diamond the Demon, I'm pretty sure, refers to Jamie Dimon, who's one of those, like, banksters, I'm pretty sure. One of those guys who, like, has a lot of money, but, like, I don't think a lot of people like. Like, I think if you just walked around and he told people on the street who he was, people would be like, "Bro, you're terrible." You know? Yeah, who knew you can actually be well-known and walk around as long as you're not evil? Who knew? It wasn't the fame that was the problem. It was that a lot of people who were well-known were evil. Who knew? I walk around all the time. People smile at me. Some of them wave. Some of them want pictures. It's really quite pleasant. As I mentioned, the Israeli army issued another forced displacement order in the last hour for Habush and Deir al-Zaharni. The Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, according to this report, says that he's Mohammed Bagir Galbaf, who's the head of Iran's negotiating team and is quite close to Supreme Leader Mohammad Khamenei, announced, quote, "The enemy's overt and covert movements indicate that it is seeking a new round of war. Our military forces have used the ceasefire in the best possible way to rebuild their capabilities." God bless you, Triple Bob. Yes, you can support this independent news service, especially if you want to help Towel as we head into Towel birthday or after Towel graduation. Please do not donate if you've already donated or if it would be a burden. But yes, I'm pretty sure it's very possible. A little help is always welcome. We're not at emergency levels yet. I would let you know. But yes, if you want to help Towel, you want to provide a little buffer, you can donate via Cash App, # Grant Smith Ellis. There's a Venmo at Grant-E1, or there's a PayPal, paypal.me/Grant Ellis. God bless all of you who have been so kind to support Little Towel throughout this period and support Little Towel's work. This is a one-man operation. I source the information, I do the translation, I do the transcription, I provide you the analysis, I run the streaming software. There are a lot more expenses now because I have my own internet and all of these things, but we kept Towel News online. God bless you to all of you for that. It means so much to me. I agree, Standing Stones, that is a song. Now, let's take a look at this video from the Strait of Hormuz, where one of the accounts close to the Iranian IRGC says, if you try to take the Strait of Hormuz, this is what will happen. That is definitely from the IRGC, and it was certainly released on Tasnim News. Now, notice, watch this. Watch this. You see the rewind and the rewind sound? That's exactly what Hezbollah uses when they, at the end of their videos, you've seen a lot of them, you know how they do that rewind thing? That's a telltale sign that these people either all watch each other's clips or they're all connected. There's been a new statement from the Hezbollah leader, Sheikh Naim Qassem. Let's take a listen to this now, just released in the past 45 minutes. Kala Walsh, of all people, who used to live in this area, then she moved to like Beirut, Lebanon. I think she's close to Hezbollah and the IRGC. I don't think she's ever coming back to America. But the point is she translated this into English, so let's take a listen.
Any conversation. Hezbollah, message from the fighters of the Islamic resistance to Secretary General Sheikh Naim Qassem. His Eminence the Secretary General, Proof of Islam and Muslims, the fighter Sheikh Naeem Qassem, may the Almighty protect you. Peace be upon you, and the...
Oh, this is the other way around. This is a message to Naeem Qassem from the brigades of Hezbollah. I've never seen them write a letter to him before. All right, let's take a listen. Oh, yes, Standing Stones, I'll get the goat photo now. Absolutely.
Peace be upon you, and the mercy of Allah and His blessings. We have received your cherished message, which carries the impact of a father upon his children, a leader upon his soldiers, and a sheikh upon his followers. We thank you, our beloved sheikh, for your sincere feelings, pure affection, and clear sentiments. We return your greeting with a greeting filled with faith, crowned with jihad, and ending in victory and martyrdom. We also turn with reverence and glorification to the souls of the martyrs from among our brother fighters and our loyal people, who have amazed the world with their patience, steadfastness, and resilience. They have been, and remain, the impregnable fortress against strife and the solid support in the peak of adversity, the backbone of the resistance in the field of defending the homeland against the treacherous and barbaric Israeli occupation. O cherished Secretary General, your sons, the fighters in the Islamic resistance, have bet on Allah Almighty before taking up their rifles. They have obeyed His command, relied upon Him, and descended into the fields of battle, guided by patience and supported by His aid. Every day, they write epics of Kabbalah-style confrontation, pursuing the enemy with all types of their weapons, destroying its tanks, burning its vehicles, terrifying its soldiers, and teaching its army lessons that will be etched in its fabricated memory. Keeping the homeland resistant to oppression and occupation. O our Sheikh, your courageous leadership has opened the way for a series of operations that have made the enemy exhausted, fearful of stability on the southern soil. It has become addicted to looking at the sky, anticipating our rocket barrages and drones, and has become accustomed to bowing its head to the ground, terrified of our explosive devices and ambushes. Our pledge is what you have pledged to us. We will keep it in this state and we have more. We will not calm down, we will not weaken, and we will not rest until the occupation leaves our land, defeated and disappointed. Between us and it are days during which it will not have patience, while we will be patient, because we are the people of the land. There are dark nights in the eyes of the occupier that we have illuminated with the remembrance of Allah, and a field that will harvest the body parts of the killed and wounded, after we have planted it with gunpowder and fire. In the name of every grain of soil, in the name of every martyr, and every fighter in the resistance formations ready along the confrontation front, we renew to you the allegiance, the oath, and the pledge to continue on this path, preserving honor, freedom, dignity, and independence. For the life of homelands is only acquired through crimson sacrifices, and the honor of the South refuses to be liberated except at the hands of the resistors, and the bet on them will not fail, God Almighty willing. Peace be upon you, and the victory of Allah and His blessings. Your sons, the fighters of the Islamic resistance.
All right. So that was the latest from Hezbollah in the field. I tried to play all sides. Now, amid heightened alerts over a potential return to war, protective shelters have been placed around the U.S. consulate in Jerusalem. Okay. I think this is an indication that we may indeed be prepping for a long week. In Tripoli, in Lebanon, in the north, there are massive demonstrations against or in favor of some type of amnesty. I'm not an expert on this amnesty law, but I will look more into it. Very large march in Tripoli in the north of Lebanon. You can see there are people marching. You got it, Tripoli, Bob. The people of Tripoli will, I'm sure, respond to your every command. Israel, for its part, is closing its consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, after the April terror attack, an Israeli source told Agence France Presse. The embassy in Ankara will remain open, but with reduced staff, while the consulate has operated with local employees since October 7th. The source said no decision has been made, with discussions citing on costs of possible demolition for earthquake preparedness. The Trump administration, as I mentioned, is ready to announce criminal charges at 1 p.m. today in just under an hour against former Cuban President Raul Castro, a source familiar with the matter tells Libby Dean. Taking you to Ben Gurion Airport now, where there's a lot of U.S. refueling tankers on the ground. And then there have been a number of negative reactions, to put it lightly, to Ben Gvir's stunt. Utterly appalling, being used by some Irish politicians, the Netherlands summoning the Israeli ambassador, and then a number of statements saying that by Israeli politicians saying that Ben Gvir does not represent the state of Israel, calling him a strategic liability. The ambassador to the U.S., Israel's ambassador to the U.S., had this to say. This will round out our morning
Conversation. Have made clear, Itamar Ben-Gvir's reckless grandstanding is not representative of government policy. I am Israel's top diplomat in the US, at the heart of our most important alliance. Ben-Gvir's antics take a sledgehammer to our diplomatic efforts, while Israel's enemies gleefully jump on every unfortunate nonsense to discredit and demonize. The provocateurs of the flotilla charade were properly detained in accordance with international law and will be deported to their home countries. End of story. Out of genuine interest, how is it legal to detain them in international waters hundreds of kilometers away from your own shores?
That's a good question. That is a good question. Now, Standing Stones, ladies and gentlemen, has sent in a special video, a special image, as we get ready to end our broadcast day. I'll do Tippecanoe and Tyler too, of course. But do you see that image up on your screen right now? That is a Standing Stones special. Standing Stones saw a goat. That is a Standing Stones goat. Standing Stones then sent us a picture of a goat, and you now get to see it. All right, so let's do Tippecanoe and Tyler 2, then I'll play a quick outro song, then we'll get out of here. All right? I'm going to go hang out with Towel Girlfriend and prepare for whatever is coming this weekend. All right, here we go. So, start with President Washington, then President Adams, then President Jefferson, then President Madison, then President Monroe, then President Adams Jr., then President Jackson, then President Van Buren, skip 9, 10, 11, 12, then 13 is Fillmore, then Tippecanoe and Tyler 2. So you got Polk, Taylor, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William, Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. How about them apples? Yes, it is a great goat. We do love Tippecanoe. But yes, God bless all of you. Thank you for supporting independent journalism as we head into whatever this weekend may bring. A peace deal, more fighting, who knows what. I will play you now our conventional outro song, and instead of, I think I'm going to put the flag on the screen and the goat. All right? We're going to get a very rare goat flag collab. And thank you all so much for all of your support of Towel Channel. You're all wonderful, and I adore you all in your own ways. Thank you for being you. Thank you for joining me. If you want to pay it forward, please consider a donation to our veterans today, or our homeless vets, or service members, or their families. They gave the most for us, the most possible, and we can do our part to give back and help them. So, that is a goat. That is the American flag. Also, you may consider a donation to animal shelters run by our veterans. It's a great way to help help our service members or veterans. Great way to help our furry friends. Great way to help our veterans. Now, if you can't find such an animal shelter, you may just consider a donation to animals in general. It's a great way to help our furry friends. Let me grab Pete Bunny Towel, because Francine will inevitably watch this replay. And Francine does love Pete Bunny Towel. He's the mascot of the channel. Going to try to make some plushies of him, maybe of me as a towel. We'll see. This is Pete Bunny Towel. He's an animal. You may also consider a donation to the Big Issue if you're in the UK. Great way to help populations experiencing homelessness. It doesn't have to be a donation, though. It can be something as simple as smiling at someone on the street, reaching out to a friend or family member you haven't heard from in a while, or yes, even giving away 200 tomato plants like Francis Frutrell did one time, and having them designated honorary towels forevermore during the outro. Yes, Kofi Bunny is excited. Your bunny mom is excited to see Peep. This is Peep. Hi, Kofi. You're a dog. How you doing? I'll say hi to Cal as well. Hi, Cal. But yes, my name is Grant Smith Ellis. Thank you very much. Oh, hello, Water Under the Fridge. You are so wonderful. Our first super chat of the day. God bless you. Sending Super Towel vibes to you, my dear friend, and praying for peace. I'm so glad we got to spend a few minutes together during lunch. I'm actually going to go have some lunch and hang out with Tao Girlfriend, but I'm so glad I got to say hi to my wonderful friend, Tao, Water Under the Fridge, who is the wonderful protector of the Great Lakes, protecting them from Iranian invasion and also Canadian subterfuge. Those damn Canadians. You can never be too trusting. I mean, too skeptical. Yes, Kyle is Towel Girlfriend's cat, and his name is Kyle. All right, we call his name is Kyle. It was not a towel stroke, indeed. His name is Kyle. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, may we in that way live up to our change the current realpolitik from one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our power to instead one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our capacity to engage in small acts of service and kindness rooted in unconditional love. In turn, living up to our Tau Eudaimonia or Summum Bonum, our greatest good in the ancient Greek or Latin respectively, and therein bring about a new digital epic defined by Aquarius the water bearer standing tall carrying a towel. It is 12:16 p.m. here on Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. It is 6:16 p.m. in South Africa. It's 7:16 p.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 7:46 p.m. in Tehran, Iran. God bless all of you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for welcoming me into your home for what was a very quick 2-hour morning breakfast update with Towel. We will see how everything plays out in the coming days. I look forward to seeing you again soon on Towel News, youtube.com/@GrantSmithEllis. And as you know, I like to end the same way every day, in particular with the Star-Spangled Banner. So if you would be so kind and pray my indulgence, I suppose I pray your indulgence, I present to you the end of your broadcast day, unless some kind of emergency happens on Towel News. My name is Grant Smith Ellis. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. Thank you for being you. God bless all of you. God bless the United States, and may God protect us all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you all very much. See each other again. My name is Grant Smith Ellis.